So here we are coming into what many people call the winter off-season. So if you live here in the Northern Hemisphere, that's basically from September until March. And for my cycling chums in the Southern Hemisphere, that's going to be from March until September. Essentially, the riding that you're going to be doing during the winter off-season isn't going to be hard. Many old school cyclists will try and not use their big ring. They'll stay in the small ring and they'll focus on spinning and riding longer distances. Traditionally also, it's the time of the club run. So if you're in a cycling club, you'll meet up with your chums on a Saturday or a Sunday morning and you'll go for a fairly longish ride. But it won't be hard, it will be fairly leisurely and it will almost be as much social as it is for training. Now the point of these winter rides is basically to build up a base fitness so that you can build upon that for when you start racing in the summer. So for me personally, back in the day, I used to try and ride about 3,000 kilometres during the winter off-season. But unfortunately, as time has gone on, I've been less and less able to achieve this. And this has been for many reasons. Basically, work has got in the way and I'm less able to find the time to actually go out and ride. For many people, finding the time to actually go out and ride the bike is the #1 challenge facing their cycling. Let's face it, cycling is a demanding hobby and you have to put in a lot of time on the bike to get any sort of real benefits from it. And sometimes fitting those rides in around busy work and family commitments can be very difficult. But there are certain things that you can do to try and make it slightly easier on yourself. So for instance, what you could do is, if you're really committed to your cycling, you could get up extra early in the morning and go out and do an hour or an hour and a half on the bike before you even leave for work. The other alternative, which is much more sensible, is to try and integrate cycling into your daily routine. So for example, commuting to work by bike is a fantastic idea. That way you get 2 rides in every workday. And of course, the big opportunity for a long ride is going to be at the weekends. But a word of caution here. It's a very, very brave man who's going to go off for 3 or 4 hours with his cycling chums and have fun, who then has to come home to an angry spouse because she's been looking after a bunch of screaming kids all morning. So assuming that we all have very understanding other halves, the other challenge that we're going to face is of course the weather. Here in the UK in September, October, November, the big thing that Mother Nature is going to throw at us is wind and rain, and then as the season progresses it's just going to get darker earlier, cutting down on the time available to us to ride. Now there are several things that you can do to combat this. The first thing is obviously to dress appropriately for the weather. There is a saying that there's no such thing as bad weather, only inappropriate clothing, and that is to a certain extent fairly true with cycling. The other thing you can do is try and be a bit philosophical about things and see riding in the hard conditions as good training. So if you can go out, grit your teeth and ride in the wind and the rain, when you start riding in the sunshine during the summer, you'll feel that much fitter and that much stronger. But if you can't quite bring yourself to ride in the dark and the wind and the rain, there is also the good old turbo trainer. Using one of these at home is a great way to kind of keep yourself ticking over during the winter off season. But what I would say is that it kind of boils down to your own determination and self-will to actually get on and do a session. They can be a bit dull, they can be a bit monotonous, so you can kind of liven them up with music or even things like Zwift, where you're kind of competing with people from all around the world. A better alternative, in my humble opinion, would be to go out and join a spinning class at your local gym. This has the benefit of being very kind of structured. Not only do you have to be at the gym at a certain time on a certain day to actually do the class, when you're actually there, you have an instructor who's giving you proper instructions on how to ride and what you need to do to kind of make the ride a bit more interesting. Plus you're there with other people and you can make it a little bit more competitive. Some people see the winter off-season as something that they have to endure and just get through. But with a slight change of mindset, it could actually be something that you actively enjoy. For a start, the pressure is off. You don't have to ride fast or hard or be that competitive. Secondly, you're seeing people that perhaps you haven't seen for a while, so you can get nice and social. The pace of the ride is slow enough so you can have a chat. And then of course there's the obligatory cafe stop where you can sit and chat even more over coffee and cake. It's also an opportunity to go out and ride routes that maybe you haven't ridden in a while, or perhaps even go out, explore and find completely new ones. Whatever you do, at least you're out enjoying the nature and doing something that you love, cycling. Thanks for watching.